So when I do a book synopsis, I always struggle with this question. How do I begin? How do I begin to start to get us into a book? And there are, because I'm doing 2 books a month, I've got the luxury of picking up books that we have not yet done. And this is an incredibly frequently quoted book. It is quoted in business circles. It is quoted in education circles. And this woman, Carol Dweck, the author, is a woman who is being instrumental in helping us understand that what we tell our children, what we tell our employees, what we tell the people that we are trying to help build up is everything. And here's what we tell them, and we tell them one of 2 things. Here is how far you can go because your IQ is set and your capability is set. That's the fixed mindset. Versus the sky is the limit. When you put your effort in, you can learn something brand new. It is not set. It is findable and explorable, and you get to keep growing. That's the growth mindset. The fixed mindset versus the growth mindset. And the book is filled with illustrations of companies that did this well, teachers that did this well, and companies and teachers that did this very poorly. And so I said in one of the comments I've made about the book, let me put it bluntly, if your children are grown, do not read this book. You will hate what you did. And if you have grandchildren that are young, buy this book and give it to the parents of your grandchildren and say, ignore what I did, do this. So this is really a remarkable book, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success, how we can learn to fulfill our potential, parenting, business, school, relationships. So take your handout and let's go to page 2. Why is this book worth our time? Number 1, our mindset truly does have a significant impact on the way we build our lives. This book will help us identify our primary mindset. A fixed mindset is an enormous negative force. This book will help us combat the fixed mindset. The growth mindset is an enormous advantage. This book will help us become very intentional in developing and maintaining a growth mindset. That's a bad typo, not a fixed mindset. We'll correct that before we put it online. Okay, a growth mindset. All right, so I'm going to read you a few of the best of Randy's highlights to help you get a feel for the book. Number 1 from the introduction. One day, my students sat me down and ordered me to write this book. They wanted people to be able to use our work to make their lives better. And what happens is that she teaches this at Stanford at the college level. She did it at another university earlier. And she helped people understand when you have been told you have a ceiling, you can get rid of that belief. You don't have a ceiling. You can keep striving and go higher than you thought you could. So, we're going to read only a few of these. Turn to page 3. Number 10. Scientists are learning that people have more capacity for lifelong learning and brain development than they ever thought. According to this author, people think my brain is set. And she says if you have the growth mindset and you apply yourself to learn new things, new ideas, new subjects, the research is clear, your brain literally expands its capability. It's not set, it's expanding. You can increase your brain capability. Number 16, Instead, as you begin to understand the fixed and growth mindsets, you will see exactly how one thing leads to another. How a belief that your qualities are carved in stone leads to a host of thoughts and actions. And how a belief that your qualities can be cultivated leads to a host of different thoughts and actions, taking you down an entirely different road. Number 18. Howard Gardner, in his book Extraordinary Minds, concluded that exceptional individuals have a special talent for identifying their own strengths and weaknesses. This is really important. Peter Drucker wrote about this. Fifth Discipline. The guy who wrote the Fifth Discipline. Yeah, he wrote about this, Peter Singa, and he says that if you can understand, here are my weaknesses, and I'm going to tackle them. I understand what they are, and I'm going to tackle them. Then you can stretch further because you are self-knowledgeable. The other thing exceptional people seem to have is a special talent for converting life's setbacks into future successes. Turn to the next page. Number 22. Those who lean toward a growth mindset agree that you can always substantially change how intelligent you are. But those with the fixed mindset didn't want to expose their deficiencies. Instead, to feel smart in the short run, they were willing to put their college careers at risk. This is how the fixed mindset makes people into non-learners. Only people with a growth mindset paid close attention to information that could stretch their knowledge. And so it works like this. Somebody who says, this is what I'm capable of. They want to be the star in the room. They want to receive the credit. And so consequently, they won't tackle new challenges. They don't want to be exposed as not the star in the room. When you have somebody who always needs to be the star in the room, there's a pretty good chance they've got a fixed mindset and they're not going to grow. So, pretty interesting. All right, number 28. Chuck Yeager, one of the great pilots, the hero of The Right Stuff, begged to differ, quote, there is no such thing as a natural-born pilot. Whatever my aptitude or talents, becoming a proficient pilot was hard work. Really a lifetime's learning experience. The best pilots fly more than the others. That's why they're the best. So there you go back to the 10,000-hour rule. Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell popularized it. Came from Anders Ericsson. I did the book Peak about that. But you can learn with deliberate, purposeful practice and many hours spent, and you cannot take a shortcut on that. Number 30. This was interesting. The more depressed people with the growth mindset felt, short of severe clinical depression, the more they took action to confront their problems. The more they made sure to keep up with their schoolwork, and the more they kept up with their lives. The worse they felt, the more determined they became. And so what she says is, at the university, every spring, anybody prone to depression gets depressed. It happens in the spring. And she says, the students with the fixed mindset shut down. They don't come to class, they don't do their assignments. The people with the growth mindset absolutely find the energy to do it when they don't want to, and it's the growth mindset that fuels them. It's fascinating. Turn to page 5. Number 45, my major conclusion is, what any person in the world can learn, almost all persons can learn, if provided with the appropriate prior and current conditions of learning. Number 49, it mainly happens to people who are in a fixed mindset, a bad outcome. When you're given a positive label, you're afraid of losing it. And when you're hit with a negative label, you're afraid of deserving it. When people are in a growth mindset, the stereotype doesn't disrupt their performance. Oh, I didn't do well, I will work harder. Oh, I don't know how to do that, I will learn how to do that. That's the growth mindset. Turn to the next page. Number 59, obviously, a company that cannot self-correct cannot thrive. Isn't it going to be interesting to watch Facebook in the next few days? And James Fallows, who writes for The Atlantic, has a wonderful article about why Facebook is in the trouble it's in. And I don't have time to elaborate, but one of the problems is Facebook created a system that makes it very difficult to self-correct. All right, number 65. Although managers, of course, want to find the right person for a job, the exactly right person doesn't always come along. However, training and experience can often draw out and develop the qualities required for successful performance. I do these book presentations at extended periods, especially for companies, but especially for city governments. And I do these, for example, for the city of Coppell, the city of Frisco, the city of Round Rock. And there really is a simple formula. The cities that are thriving, Frisco, in case you haven't heard, has grown a little in recent years. They invest money in training. And they create a system where people say, I can learn some stuff. And so they learn, and they bring me in, and they bring other people in, and they read books, and they kind of ripple it through, and it's just really remarkable that the company with that kind of approach really does make a difference. Number 68. Daniel Goleman's emotional intelligence struck such a responsive chord. It said there are social emotional skills, and I can tell you what they are, and also they can be learned. Page 7, number 83. Find something important about yourself that you'd like to change. And take the first step. Underline that. Take the first step. Do something outrageously growth mindset in the service of what you'd like to change. Project yourself 25 years into the future, and write me a letter about where you are in your life and all the struggles, disappointments, hardships, and failures you've encountered along the way. But tackle it and go forward. Turn the page. Now we're going to look at some of the key thoughts of this book. On the left, I summarized the book on the left. Your mindset really does determine who you are. If you have a fixed mindset, the ceiling is set. You can do only so much, accomplish only so much, and no more. If you have a growth mindset, you have so many more possibilities open in front of you. You need to cultivate, to grow your growth mindset, and you need to help others develop a growth mindset. This book is about developing and maintaining that growth mindset. All right, on the right, every word and every action from parent to child, really from anyone seeking to shape others, sends a message. I'm not going to ask if you remember things that your parents said to you that you never forgot fondly or that you never got over. And so, you end up saying either you have permanent traits and I am judging them, evaluating them, passing judgment on them, or you're a developing person and I'm interested in your development. So the two mindsets are fixed, carved in stone, and growth, just the starting point for development. There are lots of stories in the book. Lee Iacocca, who was naturally brilliant, and did some major innovative things in the beginning, but he was pretty much wanting to be the star in the room. And then he didn't keep growing. His products did not keep growing. And that was when the Japanese quality took over. And so Lee Iacocca is the non-learner. He was brilliant, but he didn't keep learning. And I talked about depression and the two mindsets. She is very high on Billie Jean King. And let me tell you that if you have a daughter or a granddaughter who is in sports, this is a book to buy and read that chapter. because she has story after story of female athletes, runners, track stars, tennis players who excelled because of the growth mindset. And one example of one that didn't have the growth mindset. And she talks about the brilliance of the movie Groundhog Day, where he keeps getting it wrong until he finally realizes, oh, I can grow, and then he begins to get it right. He went from the fixed mindset to the growth mindset. All right, an observation. This is a treasure trove of stories about accomplished women in multiple fields. Some men, she's high on John Wooden, among others, but teachers, athletes, business leaders in multiple arenas. It is the first book I've read with this many stories and illustrations of accomplished women, and that's worth reading. What creates the fixed mindset? The wrong kinds of praise. Praising the wrong things. Never praise the fixed. You're so smart. Praise effort toward the challenging process of growth. You are learning so well. That's different. You're so smart versus you're such a learner. Never praise effort that is not really expended. Don't praise, oh, you worked hard, when you know they didn't work hard. Because that will give them an excuse to not work hard the next time. Praise the embrace of new strategies of learning and growth. In other words, if something is not working, change the strategy. Praise the act of changing the strategy. And this is subtle but important. Only praise the process when it is tied to outcomes. So that's important. All right, so I created a little table. Fixed, low effort, growth, high effort. Fixed, results, growth, process. Fixed, lie and exaggerate. So telling children they're smart in the end made them feel dumber and act dumber, but claim they were smarter. Whereas growth, more honest about current capability and willing to ask for help. Fixed prompts one to avoid challenges so as to not look like a failure. Growth prompts one to embrace challenges, to even seek challenges for their growth potential. Growth, students with a growth mindset earn better grades as the challenges increase. That's worth putting a star beside. All right. So teaching, coaching, training from the growth mindset, you correct, you help, you show, you help, you praise efforts that result in progress, and you avoid judging from the fixed mindset perspective. Page 9. She talks about the fear of failure and the dilemma of groupthink. And she says groupthink comes out of the fixed mindset, and this book, like many others, refers back to the Bay of Pigs, which is a great example of the bad fixed mindset and groupthink. In education, in a relationship, at work, the growth mindset calls for a belief in the ongoing development and growth of every person. Students, athletes, people can grow and change for the better. Help them believe that. And she even says, you can get your husband to do better. And she says, and maybe I, the wife, could do better. There's a chapter on that. All right? The growth mindset helps one cultivate perseverance and resilience. She talks about how the fixed mindset actually leads to bullying. And she refers to Columbine. Of course, this book was written a few years ago, and so it's very interesting, that section on bullying. Beware the misunderstanding. The growth mindset is only about putting in the effort. That's what people say. It's only about putting in the effort. That's a misunderstanding. It involves putting in great effort, but effort alone is not enough. It is putting in the right effort that works, that leads to growth and change. It is not, if it's not working, change strategies. The message of the book is, you can change your mindset. Circle that. You can change your mindset. A brief aside, she has very good things to say about Circuit City. and Tiger Woods. And it was written before Circuit City went under and Tiger Woods went under. So beware of dated illustrations. On the right, you cannot read this. It's too blurry. But all you have to do is Google growth mindset, and you will find this. It is a good contrast. It's in the book, and it is worth looking at. So Google images and find this and print it out and put it with these notes, and you'll read it. Some lessons and takeaways. Now that I've done it, what are my lessons and takeaways? Number one, you have some of each of the two mindsets. Be really, really vigilant about your fixed mindset tendencies. Note, Ms. Dweck recommends that you give your fixed mindset a name, literally. She says, that's Homer creating a problem. So he has a funny chapter on that. That's Mildred creating a problem. Nobody in here is named Homer or Mildred. Number two, cultivate the growth mindset in every area of your life. Relationships, work, personal, physical. Number three, become intentional about helping others cultivate their growth mindsets. Number four, be very careful about what and how you praise and criticize. Very careful. Circle this. Focus especially on this. Praise the efforts that enhance the growth process. And number five, if you have young children, read this book and maybe give a copy of the book to the teachers of your children. Mindset, the new psychology of success. I hope you found this useful.